Good morning to everyone. Be blessed by the divine. Thank you for your introduction, Muthu sir. I am a student of Vision Diploma course 2019-20 batch. As I say, 1920, it's kind of a long foundation batch. So I would like to explain or share my understanding from my classes that I have attended. So I consider as if it is a kind of a seminar from engineering colleges they attend during the third year, final year as a part of academic requirement. They present a small topic as a seminar. So I would say that as a part of my diploma certification, I'm trying to explain my understanding on philosophy of life. Philosophy of life, as we know, all of us, we know philosophy, combination of two words, philo and sophia, which in a broader sense means lover of wisdom. In modern day, we are using the word PhD or doctorate in philosophy, which gives the broader meaning that it is a award of recognition of a specialization in any area. It is not specific to any particular area or field, specialization of any area. Or in an overall sense, it's kind of a wholesome approach on the subject. So when we understand realization or knowing the facts of nature, when we try to say what is nature, where is the origin, what are the forces acting on this, what is the result of an action, how or what is time. So these things, when we try to ponder over, this is something called philosophy, or we are trying to go deeper into deeper. That's kind of philosophy. Let's see what life is. Life, in a normal sense, we say having some living body or living, but life is a combination of all three key ingredients: human being himself or herself, then the society. Human being is present in society, part of the society, and society is part of the nature. So human being, society, nature altogether constitute life, like a fire triangle. Without any component or any one ingredient, society or nature, there is no life. Or without human being, absolutely no life. So for life to be in place or to survive, to sustain, all three key ingredients are required: society, nature, and the human being. They are those three constitute what life is. So let's see philosophy of life. We went through just philosophy, now life, and philosophy of life. In short, living in society to attain fulfillment in consciousness, enjoying the pleasures of nature. That's what life can be defined in terms of Maharshi's explanation. Every human being is living in society, and with the part of or during the course of living, he enjoys or gets some pleasure from the society. But in the process of getting pleasure and enjoyment, merriment, fulfillment in consciousness is also required. So living in society with enjoying the pleasures of nature while fulfillment in consciousness, this is what is the complete definition of life is. Philosophy is a necessity of life. Without philosophy or without the overall understanding concept, one cannot completely be a living body or a completeness of life. The completeness of life is attained only with philosophy, which is necessity for life, which is kind of a light or a direction, which gives direction to life, which gives the goal or the aim of life or the purpose of life is shown by philosophy. That's why without philosophy, if only a person is living, it's just a living body, not having a complete sense of life. So that's how philosophy is the one which directs, shows, or gives, or helps leading the attainment of goal. That's how philosophy is an absolute necessity of life. When we go to or look for purpose of birth, the key thing is to experience joy of satisfaction and peace. But how? We are experiencing joy with satisfaction and peace by developing knowledge to its fullness. So the development of knowledge in a complete sense is an essential or key ingredient which helps to experience the joy and satisfaction with peace. So this is what is the sole purpose of birth or goal or aim of life. The development of knowledge in the process that leads to development of material comfort. That is what we call it science. In the process of continuous comfort, human body needs comfort. So in that process, we develop material comforts or material prosperity. This material prosperity is a form of science. In fact, philosophy, the knowledge of implementing philosophy is science, which is in the interest of human body. That is what is leading to material prosperity, which results in living comfort. But in the course of developing the knowledge or in the course of implementation of acquired knowledge and leading to material prosperity, we forget, or human being forgets, the ultimate goal or purpose, which leads to excessive material prosperity. The excessive material prosperity in turn results in or adverse impact. Those adverse impacts lead to misery or pain. So in a way, we have to limit or control the material prosperity that person is being achieved or is going to or aiming for. The material prosperity is beyond excessive limit, could be adverse or causing misery or pain. That's what the role of philosophy comes in. Philosophy is the one or the tool which moderates or prevents or controls limits. So that's why we call it philosophy is preventive and curative. So this is what is essential part, without which, if only science is there or only philosophy is there, both will be imbalancing, both complement each other. How to live or live in a society fulfillment of to attain fulfillment of consciousness and enjoying the pleasures of nature. So how to maintain that? For that, Maharishi has given 12 principles. Those 12 principles are broadly categorized into 4 categories. The category of needs, we have 3 needs. Category of protections, 3 protections. Category of virtues, 3 virtues. And consciousness, we have 3 consciousness levels or levels of higher intellectual development or higher intellectual knowledge. So these are the 4 categories, in short, 12 principles which Maharishi has explained to get higher level of knowledge on these aspects. Needs, the basic needs every living being goes through. It's a human being or an animal or a plant. Every living being has these basic needs. Basic need for food, air, water. Those are the things. Feeling for climatic variations. Even a plant needs variation. Plant needs shelter or shade, want to adjust to the climatic variations and pressures of excretory forces. Anything in, something has to go out. That is what the pressure of excretory forces. Some people can argue, I don't want to consume my energy. I want to minimize my energy, minimize my intake. No, the energy consumption is a definite process, which is part of or due to the movement of Earth. Earth revolves around 1600 kilometers per hour. The speed of Earth, the rotational forces, which remove the finer particles or the life force particles from an individual. This in turn will result in hunger or loss of energy. To compensate that, we have to take some energy. So this is a basic need. So let me not go through on more on that. Then the basic levels of protections from natural calamities or natural disaster or natural variations. Even there is a rain, we can't call it as a natural disaster, but we need protection from rain. So there are changes in the nature which needs protection. So this is a part of a living organs, a living being's requirement. Enmity or need of other living beings. Other living beings, they have some need, they try to take from some other. This is what. Or enmity, they have some problem, they want to settle the score. or they want to do it. So that's again the attack or the problem coming from another living being. That's again, we need protection from that. And accidents, the most unfortunate events or much unfortunate incident that result in, we call it those as accidents. So these six principles are experienced or are required or need to be satisfied by every living being. These six, except humans. The humans having their sixth sense are above these six principles. So they need more or they go beyond more. Only the living beings, except humans, are contented with those six. Those six are satisfied, they are well contented. Sixth sense the human needs to be beyond this or goes beyond this. So the why is it so? All other living beings other than humans, they have their own processing capabilities. They process from the natural resources as it is. Plant takes soil, water, air from the nature as it is. Animals eat grass or leaves as it is, unprocessed natural resources. Human being is the one, in order to enjoy, he modifies, alters, made some artistic modifications to the nature's components or nature's commodities. And there is another component called ownership right. Human is not free to consume or to take what it is from the nature. They has to establish some ownership right. Want to buy something? Yes, you have to pay money, get some grocery, food, prepare it, cook it and eat it, or pay money from the hotel, take it. So this is how the basic need needs to be satisfied. From protections, yes, one has to pay money to build a house to something. So this ownership right is an additional component which is applicable to humans. So this ownership right is to be established. He has the modifies the nature's component to suit his own liking in a way, enjoys or to meet his enjoyment, he makes changes to the components in the nature. So this is how everything is taken from the society, from the nature, and the living being or human is completely dependent on society. That is what is called responsibility towards society. The next, when we go to the next component, yes, human being is a dependent being on the society, no doubt on it. So that is, there comes the responsibility of the human being towards society or towards nature. These are, when we go it, we call it virtues or the behaviors showing high nobles, high standards. That's what we call it virtues. First, we go for morality. The second one is duty. Third one is charity. Morality. Okay, before we go to morality, let me explain. Every action has some result. So every action, it could be good action or bad action. It can be good from individual's perspective, could be bad from others' perspective. Every action has some result. This action, not only action in deed, could be from word or could be on thought. So thought, word, deed, all these things result in some result which can be causing pain or harm or may not be. So thought, word or deed which can have some pain or harm on a self, individual or others, mentally or physically, present or future. So there is the overall, when I'm trying to say the action which doesn't result or impact on pain or harm to anybody, physically or mentally, present or future, that kind of act is called morality. As we say after the meditation, we take vow, I in my lifetime will not cause harm to anyone, either physically or mentally. So this is what is the statement of morality we are trying to pursue. When we say morality, another part of morality comes ethics. You see the buildings or pictures, the lights are on, room is vacant. Yes, it is right. They don't have nothing wrong. They are paying electricity bills. Water is running on. Yes, they are paying water bills. The person has owned this building, 32 floors. Yes, he has paid money for that. He has ownership right. But when we say ethics, is it ethically right? It is and yeah, it is a sheer wastage of nature's resources. These really deserve to be thought upon or to be minimized, the wastage of nature's resources. Whatever one wants, yes, enjoy to the extent what is required or what is contented or what we feel derive pleasure from it. Anything beyond that is a waste. That isn't a ethical use or ethical implications, or will not be conducive. Let's go to the second virtue, duty. Duty, as I mentioned, every individual is indebted or is part of the society, takes everything from the society. So is indebted to the society for everything on his life, from his life. There comes a sense of gratitude or attitude of gratitude. Everything we are taking from society, so it is our responsibility or duty, basically dues to the society, pay back. That is called duty. So this is what we have to consider. We have to develop the thinking, develop the sense, and implement in practice to pay back something into the society. Even for the segment argument, in some countries, people have been provided in the parks, exercises, they provided bikes. They say, okay, we can generate energy. Without nature, I'm just consuming energy, and they ride the bikes, and from the bikes there is some minimum millivolts, and from voltage of power generated, this power is used. But still, that isn't coming from for free. This energy, what the person has spent, is again consumed by intake of his food. So in short, what I'm trying to say is nothing comes from the without the nature, nothing comes. Everything comes from the nature. So the prosperity, peace, and harmony are the key ingredients or components of a society. When these things are balanced, the society is in balance or is in peace. So harmony is maintained. So these are the key components. So duty is having a key role in maintaining social harmony. The duty can be categorized to five categories or five types of duties. Duty to self. First, individual has to maintain himself first, fit and fine, so that he can take care of his dependents, his family members. Then he can take care of his friends and relatives, the society around him, and finally, at a larger scale, global scale, the whole world can be taken care, or when whole world is addressed with his deeds or duties. Though basically the aim should be to not to disbalance or cause imbalance in the whole world or in the society, or maintain prosperity, peace, and harmony all around the surroundings, self, family, or friends and relatives, and a larger scale. They in turn will maintain harmony in the society and in world. So this is what the basic sense of duty of every living being. If it's performed, that will maintain the harmony and maintain the peace all across. If peace and harmony is maintained, automatically we can achieve prosperity, and the whole world will be a better place. Then comes the virtue, charity. In the society, as we mentioned, it consists of all categories of people with different abilities. Every individual may not be having the ability to meet their duties, perform the morality, or live with the standard of living is high, or to have maintain the discipline or maintain the harmony in the society. The social status or social strata can get disturbed because of various abilities or various physical or financial abilities, or even mental abilities. People with the different abilities or different frame of mind will not be in a position to compete with all. Then comes the need of balancing the needs of ability of people. People having an inability, their needs are there, their protections are there. Need and protection is basic component, as we discussed. It has to be maintained. See, if that needs to be maintained, that needs to be, or there will be an imbalance or balance of need for more security or more needs are still there. The gap is there. There comes the action called charity. Those who are able, those who have adequate money or adequate ability or adequate position to help that there comes the sacrifice. A small portion needs to be given to the people who are in need. It could be basic needs or it could be need for protection. This need or this charity need not be in the form of money only. It could be intellectual. If there is a person needing some help in the front of suggestion, yes, we can give a suggestion or we can give a idea. Okay, this can improve, it changes life. Or people do labor. They physically, if they are strong enough, they do service, what we call it service, without charging anything. They do service for the development or upliftment of society or some small community. So this is what is, we call it either a labor, charity in the form of labor, intellectual or wealth. The condition is all these things what we are doing should be unconditional, without having a greed or without having something in return or expectation. So that is what we call it charity. And above all these things, these are the materialist things what we see. If anyone is not able to offer these things, labor, intellectual or wealth, simple prayer. When one is praying, that is an act of charity, or that is giving a help to someone else. When one is giving blessings to others, this is again an act of charity. So that's how the other person or other community or other family or other living beings are getting a good wish or a blessed. That is how their improvement or their condition is being reduced, the pain or misery is being reduced. So the act of charity not only involves either the labor or intellectual wealth, even prayer or blessings are also acts of charity. The understanding of these concepts, practices of these virtues will in turn ensure the development, maintain the prosperity and peace in society. So that's what we discussed earlier. If there are people with inability, if they are supported in some form, so the balance or imbalance is reduced, or balance is maintained, peace and harmony are maintained. This is what we are trying to say, that yes, in the Marx's concept, if we try to understand, this is how we can maintain peace and harmony in the society. After all these three stages of knowledge, or these 9 principles, then comes the intellectual stage. This stage or intellectual stages with the higher development knowledge consist of faith, understanding, realization or perfection. Understanding the principles are necessary. Of course, when we said that yes, all these 9 principles are necessary to understand. Those who have accomplished those 9 principles, understood properly, very good. They are in the next level, or they are in the level of development of knowledge or higher consciousness. But there can be people, or there can be persons not able to understand. It could be because of their limitation in the brain growth, like children, or they have some inability, their mental ability is not so matured enough to reach that stage. So in that case, how do they go? That what we call it faith. So lead a life of faith. This is what is the most people have been trying to follow. Okay, let's have a faith on this. So this faith is basically, we are following the people who have wisdom. We are taking guidance from the people who have wisdom or who have higher wisdom levels. Once the faith is reached, the next stage after completing faith, or after a certain level of experience faith, then comes the intellectually developed individual. Individual is capable of understanding from faith. He leads to the understanding level. By understanding, leads the life with principles. The principles what we discussed, principles from their own life experience, principles from learning from others. The other people who have wisdom, the people who are the people, Mahans who have written books. So those were the resources. From other resources, one can intellectually get development, or the intellectual knowledge can be enhanced further by such means or such resources, including his own life experience. So this is called the understanding process. And fully developed in knowledge, the ultimate stage is the stage of realization of self or truth. So this is what the stage when person with such realization is capable of leading others. Others can follow him with this realization. The knowledge and the realization, realized soul can be a guide for others to follow. So in some sense, when we say perfection means not perfect action in a perfect world, but appropriate actions in an imperfect one. This whole world is not a perfect world. It is absolutely an imperfect world. But the actions what we are taking, if those actions are good enough, matured enough, and not impacting, not causing any pain or misery to anyone, that is what we call an appropriate action. So that will be called as an action from a perfectionist, or a perfection is reached or achieved. Those were the 12 principles we have discussed. But those principles, when we say principle, Archimedes principle, those kind of theory, what are in practical? So Maharishi has given us the tools or practical to meet the theory or 12 principles. Analysis of thought, moralization of desires. If the desire is moralized, it will not be causing pain or misery to anybody mentally or physically. Neutralization of anger. Again, the individual self will be under control or under moderate conditions. The anger is restricted. If anger is minimized or neutralized, then automatically the other things, the miseries arriving out, misery generating from anger are taken care. Eradication of worries. This is again another evil, needs to be tackled. Then the final comes the who am I? The realization of God or God understanding is again the most key important factor. This can be done. These are the for higher level of six senses, from virtues to consciousness. For the basic levels of needs and protection, we have been taught doing exercises, meditation that takes care of individuals' health, individuals' family. So those are the things which can take physical health or basic needs are taken care. So in short, these are the levels, or these are the 12 principles and the tools which altogether make understand the philosophy of life, or living a life which can, in short, live in society with fulfillment and attaining the pleasure and enjoying the pleasures of nature, a true sense of life. Just to summarize, these are the 12 steps. These steps are, as we see in the picture, the 12 steps are the bottom 3 steps are the basic needs every individual, every living being passes through. Then second comes the protections, second layer or second stage of steps, protections. This again a basic need. So basically individuals, they strive, run around from need to protection and protection to need. That is how, like the game of snake and ladder, people go up to the level of protections and again they come back with their actions, or without uncontrolled actions come back. So they revolve around those levels. When the higher level is reached, that is level of virtues, performing your duties with the morality, with the charity, then comes the level of virtues, or they try to reach to the next level, that is the level of consciousness. In the level of consciousness, we again get to have some faith, understanding, and finally the realization. That's what at the top of the stage we feel God realization or self-realization. In summary, I just conclude everything all together. I can just quote an example of a small travel. Life is a journey, or life is a travel. When we say, for example, it's a pilgrimage. In the pilgrimage, or we are going to a temple. So this is how these are the steps or a travel through the temple at the top of the hill. So everyone takes care of the basic needs. They make their food, they pack their food, pack their water. So they take care of the basic needs. Then they ensure protection. They take care of their family. They take care of people who are traveling nearby. They take under the shelter, okay, and the protection from the nature, or they go travel under the shed. So that protection needs, these are taken care. Virtues, on the way, they make some charity. They go with some morality, charity. So these are the things taken care of the virtues. In between, on the way, we see vendors or those who are setting up stalls on the way. They sell something, or they make amenities or make available food and those things available for the travelers. But those people, they are not going higher, or they are not going to the stages of realization of God or realization of divine. They remain there. So in short, what I'm trying to say is one has to move up the steps, up the ladders, or go up in your knowledge thinking, so that from need to protection, once these are satisfied, the next aim or next goal should be to go to virtues. The next level should be to reach the level of consciousness or develop the level of consciousness. Overall, science is an integrated part of philosophy. Without science, philosophy is blind. Without philosophy, or philosophy without science, is lame. For example, in these steps, we know the philosophy. Yes, we have a faith. One has to go up, but without science, cannot reach. So that's why we call it lame. And we have the science ability, but we don't have the philosophy, or we don't have the aim even to go to the top or realize God realize. That means even if we have science, we have all the means to go there, but we don't have the faith, understanding, cannot go there. So that's why even if it is there, we cannot see. It's kind of science without philosophy is blind. So philosophy is the one which gives light, or which gives direction of life or purpose of life to attain the goal. So this is what, in short, I conclude for the subject philosophy of life. Thank you, sir.